What's up, guys? Michael Sweet Journal. I want to talk to you about standards today. So, setting standards for your business and what that means, especially when it comes to producing products for your bakery, what that's going to require of you, what sort of things you're going to have to do to change in your bakery, what are the other, I guess you could say, important aspects of standards, such as the product, the business overall setup, and what it is that you're focusing on. So when you're first getting into the bakery business, you might be just like us, where you kind of just went for anything and everything all at once because you got nervous. If you're as crazy as we were, we jumped ship and basically started the business at almost full time from the get-go. I'd say there's probably about a year or so we were just kind of toying with the idea about it, but when it came time to really get going on it, we jumped in full speed ahead and started trying to take orders. But in that regard, what happened was we didn't really establish a focus, so that created some issues right off the bat. Those were standards that were never established. What it is we're going to do, what we're going to produce, what's going to be our quality level, etc., etc. So when it comes to becoming a bakerpreneur, what you do need to really consider as far as standards. First off, what you're going to produce. If you're producing just cakes, specifically all you're doing is focusing on birthday cakes, and particularly birthday cakes for children or for the adult who is still the child in mind, who wants a fun cake that's usually great for kids, then your standards need to be at a level that is focused on children, on cakes that are for children. Next aspect of that is that it's going to be something that is requires you to create ingredients in-house, something you can be known for, not just the outside of the cake, but for the inside of the cake as well. And if so, then what are those ingredients going to be? Are you going to focus on dietary, so you can set your limits? Are you going to focus on more commercial mix, so you can put more emphasis on the outside of the cake? And there is no issue whether you create ingredients in the house or you're doing commercial mix. There's plenty of bakers who are fantastically successful, which the cake comes out just fine, and do commercial mix. We don't in our bakery. We produce everything from scratch, but that does not mean that you are sinful or some ridiculous thing like that. Your standards are that the cake itself is going to be a commercial mix cake. For the sake of argument, that's the direction you went. But when it comes to the outside, you got a particular niche. You are outlandish. You want cakes that are specifically focused on being carved. You want things that resemble fun cartoons. You want things that are more animated. So you set your standards at only pushing for those cakes as a primary, but you will also offer at the same time some other options that are not quite there, but that are purchased more frequently and give you more revenue, so you're not just wishing and hoping for a particular customer, especially when you do need to get the income as well. But what you don't do is say you're going to start doing wedding cakes. You're going to start doing cakes for company parties. Those were things that had nothing to do with your specialty. They have nothing to do with what you want to achieve, and then they won't really make you happy. So in that regard, you simply don't follow those particular paths. You don't take on those orders. You refer them out, and so you can focus on pushing birthday cakes for children, specifically outlandish cakes. Next standard is going to be your kitchen setup. Are you going to be operating out of a commercial facility from day one? And if so, what are obviously the state and city and all the others regulation requirements, but also what are your standards? What are your standards for the setup? It has to be set up in a certain way for a specific purpose. And if it's not, not only does it not meet your standards, it doesn't work out. It will not be efficient for you in your production, which means that you are not succeeding. So standards for your cakes and your designs, standards for your commercial facility, and if it is working out of your home, you're a cottage baker, setting the standards for perhaps time of day that you'll be working on cakes, limiting availability to the kitchen, especially if you have animals or if you have children who are at the house, or others who are living in the house as well, where you can say, please leave. And for the pets, please do not cross the gate that I put up, or stay outside if that's the case as well. And keeping those things in mind, so that you are focusing on standards that will make your production out of your home more efficient. Setting standards, again, means also considering the amount of money that is acceptable for your work. That means you don't really follow the path that we did unless you want to and feel that that's what you need to do, and I don't advise it. I'd say focus more on getting your name out as opposed to doing what we did, which was $12 for 12 cupcakes and free delivery, and delivery was 20 minutes away. That is not setting standards. That did not, it worked out fine for that moment, the ingredients turned into dollars and we needed dollars to pay a bill, but we weren't making anything on it. It was more just frustration and desperation. And you want to have a win every single time you produce. So setting standards that your minimum is X. And if it doesn't qualify for that minimum, you refer it off, or say you simply cannot take it. Or you charge your standard. That way you can produce what you want to produce. Another thing in setting your standards is delivery time and delivery distance. You maybe don't want to deliver to a city that's 2 hours away. Even if you charge $500 for delivery and they even accepted it, perhaps you just don't want to do it. And if that's your standards, then establish them and stick to them. If it's you prefer to only deliver between a set hour time, like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and then you break them out into little sections of time and say, these are the only allowed times, and I don't do Monday deliveries. Stick to those. It's very important for you to stick to it, because it ensures that you are enjoying what you are producing. So unless someone is offering you something that which you will accept to do that may get close to breaking your standards, just simply stick to your standards. Don't break your standards. It's very important you focus on them. The next one is kind of an interesting one. So what do you do if you're approached with someone who's wanting to do a lot? It's a huge dollar amount, but it truly is something that you just aren't capable of producing at your top notch. You're not, either your skill sets are not there, your capacity of your kitchen will not accept it, or some other standard or limitation for which you are simply not going to be able to produce at your best. You could do the work, but it won't be your best and you won't be proud of it. Stick to your standards. Stick to what is going to be best for you. Your policy on how you operate your bakery. If you can't do it, just taking on the order because it's so big is not the way to go. It has to be based on what you know you can fulfill. So we took care of location, we took care of what you're going to produce, of your establish limitations or minimums. What about, let's say, bringing people on to work with you? Establish what their skill set minimums must be. Establish their persona requirements. Are they going to be upbeat? Do they see a positive outlook in their production? Do they know they want to produce this? Or do they just want a job and want to be able to just work? Those type of things, depending on what it is you're trying to achieve, do come into play as far as hiring. And understand what you're getting into. As soon as you hire someone on, what they produce needs to be absolutely to your standards, if not better, to ensure that you are producing the best product for the best result. So what sort of standards do you have? Which ones do you always upkeep no matter what? Which ones have you broken and why? I want to know in the comments below. So the more you run into situations that question your standards, or perhaps you run into scenarios where no standards were established yet, definitely consider sitting down and writing out, or just mentally establishing, especially if you're just getting started, what those limitations are, what those minimums are, what is the best place to stay at to make sure you are fulfilling your best outcome, the best result that you want, and you're taking pride, true pride, in the work you did and produce. So don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who's questioning the issues with standards, and definitely subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button the next time I get on. I do try to do lives at least on Mondays around 9:30 in the evening. It is Arizona time, so everybody on the East Coast, well, you're just gonna have to stay up late, and that's pretty cool too. Until next time, guys, Michael Sweet, the Michael Sweet Journal. Peace out.